Saying that over the years.
All right.
Right?
Village board meeting underway. Monday, April 13th, 2026. 6 o'clock. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Dio?
Here.
Trustee Bowden?
Here.
Trustee Hudson?
Here.
Trustee Richards?
Here.
Trustee Sandberg?
Here.
Trustee Sluse?
Here.
Trustee Sturba?
Here.
All right, move on to public comments.
Guess that means me. Well, thank you for having me. I'm John Kiefner, and since I've already planted an oat field, I guess that means I'll be starting my 46th year of farming in Manhattan, Illinois, and my kids did go to pt.1 High School, I believe, class of 05 and 06. But if you don't know, I also serve on the Will County Planning and Zoning Commission, which you're all aware of Planning and Zoning Commission work. And the last couple of years, we've been completely besieged by lots of cases that involve large-scale land conversion. And as a farmer, I want to pitch a program that I'm trying to get all the local community leaders and citizens of Will County interested in, and that's a farmland preservation program. At these Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, we hear it all the time. We move to the country, we want to stay country, we don't want to lose farmland, but there's nothing in our policy right now to save farmland. We want to save some open space. Other than forest preserve land, there's really nothing going to save open space. So I'm hoping your village will maybe draft a resolution of support, or each of you work individually to help promote this idea. Kane County, Illinois started a program in 2001. They've got over 7,000 acres in farmland preservation. The United States Department of Agriculture, in every farm bill, has funding set aside for farmland preservation. It's a matching grant, which means you cannot access that money unless you have a local program. That's where getting the Will County government to adopt a local program for farmland preservation would be so important. You can now access those federal funds. The manager of the Kane County Farm Bureau told me that for 11 years straight, they were the only county in Illinois to receive federal funds for farmland preservation. Unfortunately, they linked their funding to riverboat gaming, and that revenue started to go like this, and they've had to pivot the program some, and it's not as greatly successful as it used to be. So as I stated, the county program is the only way to access those funds. And I know personally, and I've seen it in print, once or twice a year, somebody has passed away and left land in Will County. And I know several people alive that want to leave land that they own in Will County to the Will County Forest Reserve because they don't want to see it developed. And I've had farmers sign some pages that they're interested in looking at putting their land in farmland protection if there was a program in place. And the important thing here is, if you keep the land in the ownership of the person instead of the forest reserve, it's still paying tax dollars. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the land the county forest reserve is targeting to add in their acquisition programs is in the southern half of the county, which means it comes off the tax roll for the communities in that area or their school districts. Jim Robbins is here, local pt.1 guy. He's got my handout to hand out to you. And what I have here is a brief description of what I just talked to you about. Go ahead and hand them out, Jim. On the back page is county board and their email addresses. And the third page is the most important. That are excerpts from the Will County Land Resource Management Plan, which county land use staff has told me they're revising this year. That's where our input to tell them what we want in the Land Resource Management Plan, and then what I, as a commissioner on the Planning and Zoning Commission, could follow as a blueprint on hearings that I have. The fourth page, don't know if it's true, but it's a case that's all over the internet. A farmer that put his land into farmland preservation rather than sell out to a data center. And if you happen to pick up well, I wasn't a pt.1 vedette because I did this same program in Manhattan a couple weeks ago. And sounds like they're pretty on board with doing something. I write for the Farmers Weekly Review. I've included 4 articles that I've written about this. Been working on it for 4 years, but not getting anywhere with the county. This is the year for the big push. Want to make it happen. Because this would be proactive instead of reactive. think I covered it all. And I just want to make sure we get our voices heard.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would say, do you have any questions? But I've been told that we usually can't take questions in public comment. You have a newsletter. Love to see something about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, John. Any other comments?
Yeah, hi. My name's Bruce Mateer. I kind of like an awkward position talking straight after you. I just moved to pt.1 to a new house, okay?
Welcome.
And brand new house. My daughter lives here, which is 2 very young children. She just had twins. And we've had to move from Lombard to do our, they need us here, you know? I mean, you can understand 2 twins. So, we sold our house short notice. We moved to pt.1. We saw this house newly built. That's perfect. Close to them, we move in. Not asking for any financial help here for anything like that. But my builder gave me, so I told I had to put grass sod down. My builder gave me $3,700 right off the bat. I'm not even here a week. Right off the bat, I started getting quotes because I want to get this done. I want my garden looking nice. I'm a gardener, you know, but I'm getting to a week to lay sod, you know. $8,500. I don't have $8,500 right now at this minute. I don't have $8,500. I'm not looking for help here. I'm just trying to give my case. I asked, you know, I can get professional landscapers in here for a reasonable price. They can till it, they can lay down, they can grade it, and they'll put topsoil down, and I'll water religiously. I've done this all my life. I'm with Dr. Carlins. I'm just looking for, all I'm doing is looking for a break. That's all I'm asking for. I look after my own garden, that's what I do. But to hand out $8,500 and what I'm already on top of, I mean, I can afford the grass seed, I can afford to get the guy in to do it. But it's just putting us under a lot of pressure right now, and that's really all I gotta say. But thank you for listening to me. And please take it into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments? Move on to the consent agenda. Item A, we're going to approve the minutes of March 23rd, 2026 regular village board meeting. Item B, we're going to approve the payroll and accounts payable. And item C, approve special event permit, Hanson's Dugout, Peatone Bowl Car Cruise Night, 210 South North 2nd Street, May 28th, June 11th, June 25th, July 9th, July 23rd, August 6th, August 20th, September 3rd, September 17th, October 1st, October 15th, October 29th, 2026, from 5 to 8 p.m. Item D, approve a special event permit for a one-day liquor license for Hanson's Dugout, Peatone Bowl, Live Entertainment Barn Burner, 2026, 210 North 2nd Street, September 5th, noon to 11 p.m. The street closure on 2nd Street from Crawford to North Street. Item E, approve a special event permit and one-day liquor license, Peatone Chamber of Commerce Sip and Stroll, the downtown Peatone, September 10th, 2026. The rain date on September 17th, 2026. Evening time to be determined, with street closure on Main Street from 1st to Railroad Street and 2nd Street from Main Street to Crawford Street, including part of North Street towards the Railroad Street, and a request to waive the fee for one-day liquor license. Item F, approve special event for DV Incorporated Game On Bar and Grill, community tree lighting, November 28th, 2026, with a rain date of November 29th, 2026, from 4 to 6 p.m., corner of North and 2nd, with road closure on North Street from 2nd to Railroad Street, and parking spots on the east side of 2nd. Item G, approve raffle renewal for American Catholic Press, raffle Queen of Hearts. That will be at the Peatone Bowl, I believe. And item H, approve liquor and tobacco amp video gaming renewals for Max Convenience, Circle K, Speedway, Hanson's Dugout, Peocott Limited, Burcott's, Peatone Corner Cafe, Susie's Saloon, Tony's Pizza, Peatone.
And the liquor approvals, have we had any problems with any of those establishments? No.
And jumping back to payroll and accounts payable. Payroll for the period ending March 28th, 2026. Administration, $12,502.07. Police, $47,179.89. Public Works, $14,656.79, for a total of $74,338.75. Accounts payable for the period ending 3/31/26. General fund is $36,737.19. Business Development District Fund, $749.25. TIF 1 Fund, $1,092.75. TIF number 2 Fund, $7,494, for a total of $46,073.19. Also for the period ending 4/10 of 2026, general fund is $60,295.67. Give us a general fund total for those two pay periods, or payable periods, of $97,032.86. Total Business Development District Fund for those periods for $749.25. TIF 1 Fund total $1,092.75. TIF 2 $7,494. For a grand total of $106,368.86. The questions, or anybody want anything removed? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Moving on to staff and committee reports. We'll start with Bob, since Troy's not here.
I have nothing to report.
Nothing? Moving on to Chief.
I also have nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Moving on to Nick.
I do have a few things. Just for everyone's benefit, the strategic planning, the focus groups are going forward this week. We have 6 different groups, one being the faith community and nonprofits is one, taxing body partners, village staff, general community group, the business community, and then our consultant is going to go over to one of those high school classes also. So those are all happening this week. Once those are completed, she will come back to the board and report out on our previously released community survey, the focus groups, and the survey of town. So that's all moving along. I'm happy to report that we do have Pavlov fiber now here in this building. That took a little while, but we got it hooked up, and we actually have Comcast as a backup. So if there's ever an outage of Pavlov, we have Comcast as a backup, which we did have one outage early this year. Unfortunately, somebody hit the Comcast line, so that's an improvement. We're going to be talking about the Axon body cameras on the agenda tonight, but there have been a number of things that you've approved previously that have been implemented. The access points, which are critical for information moving around, I'll leave it at that. But those have all been installed here, the Police Department, Public Works. We have scheduled for later this week, the new server and server rack are going to be installed over in the police department where our equipment is. And that's really a focus on security, but also just best practices of securing equipment, proper wiring, and things like that. And that all follows on the recent deployment of the phone system. So we've been making a lot of technology improvements, which I think are valuable. Last thing, just upcoming items. We're going to talk more about the Sportsman's Club in coming weeks. We're going to be talking about the MFT project. The mayor, Bob, and I, Robinson, and Aqua met out on South Street this past week and talked about what could happen there, so we'll be talking about that, I think, at the upcoming Public Works Committee. And then we're finalizing the date for an AOC meeting to talk about the special event ordinance also. And then last thing, today was the close for the Public Works hire, and as of the last time I checked, unless another one came in, we had 13 applicants, which I was pretty pleased with, to get that many applicants. So we'll be scheduling interviews next week, or this week or next week, and hopefully have a name for you for the next board meeting. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Nick. My comments, I'm sure everybody's aware, but I'll just say it again, the facade improvement applications are online on our website, so we haven't got any applications as of yet, but we got a lot of interest in that. Peter March stopped by and gifted us a picture book, basically a scrapbook of the whole downtown project. This is really nicely done, a lot of beautiful pictures. If anybody wants to take a look at it, I'll have it up on the counter here, then we'll put it on display maybe in the cabinet after everybody gets to take a look at it. I thought that was very nice of him. Put a lot of effort into that, and as well as board did put a lot of effort into that streetscape. So it's nice to have. So thank you. Thanks to him. Also, it's been a little over a year since I was elected into this position, and I just want to say that it's been interesting, and I want to commend the board that we have. I expected to have maybe some issues with the board because, you know, coming in new, nobody knew me, but I'm pleased to announce that we have a fantastic board here, and I'm really glad that I get to serve with you. And that's it for my comments. We are now going to new business, since there is no old business. We're going to have a motion to approve the Arbor Day proclamation. I'll read that real quick. Tree City, USA official proclamation, whereas in 1872 the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for the wildlife, and trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper wood for our homes, whereas fuel for our fires, countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our village increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, I, Village President Chris Vio, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the Village of Peatone, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts and to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I encourage citizens to plant trees to widen the heart to promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated 13th of April, 2026.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion Hudson,
Second.
second Sluse.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturman?
Yes.
Moving on to resolution that will be 26-R-06. resolution ratifying the acceptance of the fiscal year law enforcement camera grant in the amount of $60,832.92. Nick, you want to talk about that real
So
quick?
just want to touch on this briefly. We don't always have positive news or always great news, so when we do get good news, we want to celebrate it. So as the mayor said, this was a grant for $60,832.92. The police chief touched on this at our last meeting. He mentioned that there was a deadline to accept the award by the end of March, so we didn't want to lose the money, so the mayor went ahead and accepted that award of the grant. But this is a formal action by the board here. And one of the things we talked about during the budget process is when we get grants, we're going to bring them back officially when the time's right for a budget amendment. So we're accepting the dollars when we get them and then allocating them when we get them. Sometimes communities budget for them before they get them, and then it looks like you're getting more money or whatnot. But this is a positive thing. The chief did a great job in writing the application, getting the money. It just, as an aside, the Safety Act, which is a law passed in Illinois, which has had a lot of criticism, but it required law enforcement agencies to deploy body cameras by January 1st, 2025, which the Village of Peatone did do that. This grant just supports that effort, and we'll talk about in the next item how it supports that. But I just wanted to thank Chief publicly. This is a great job, and the money's going to hopefully be put to good use with the next item. So, any questions? Or if the chief wants to say anything too.
Chief, you want
No.
Thank you.
I get a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
This will be resolution 26-R-07, a resolution waiving competitive bidding and approving a master service and purchasing agreement with Axon Enterprise Incorporated.
So this ideally is connected to the previous item. So, and I will say a substantial amount of work went into getting this to the finish line, and it's no small feat. But we did get the contract hammered out, which is in the packet. As I mentioned with the previous item, this is the Safety Act, and we have to do these cameras. Peatone previously deployed body-worn cameras. We had car cameras too, and but the body cameras were in a separate agreement. This new agreement folds those cameras into one master agreement, and so at the end of the day, we'll have 12 body-worn cameras and all of the necessary licenses and other equipment, 6 car cameras, 1 outpost license plate reader camera, and the positive, I don't want to get too far into the details, but I'll say this is a long-term contract per se, in that we can't approve 10-year contracts at the village. So this was kind of the challenge, is how do we get the pricing spread over 10 years, or kind of the plan, without agreeing to a 10-year contract. So it basically has a quote you'll see in the packet of a cost over 10 years, but we have the ability to exit this contract should we not want to, and there's all those provisions in there. But one of the positives is, one of many positives is, there's a regular refresh of the equipment. So you think, oh, we're committing to 5 years or 10 years, the equipment's going to get outdated. Well, this agreement, every 2.5 years, the body cameras are swapped out for the most current model. Every 5 years, the car cameras are swapped out for the newest model, and the LPR camera will be swapped out in those 5-year cycles too. So I'm going to stop and let the chief talk about, because there's another piece of this with the live camera that was negotiated.
So with this, because we're going out to a 10-year contract, which really isn't a contract for 10 years, but it's a 10-year agreement, we got, by negotiating back and forth, Nick went back and forth with them, I went back and forth with them, our attorneys went back and forth. It took us a while, but they gave us two additional things. The first additional thing, which I think is really good for us, is all the officers had the cameras. Now they have an additional function where if they're on a call and they're by themselves, which can happen because a lot of times we only have 2 people on working at night, so they can push a button on their camera, and then it'll alert. Let's say it's set up to alert the other officer, or it'll alert me because we tested it. It'll alert me. It'll send me a text message where it says, "Hey, something's going on." And I can push a thing on my phone, and it turns their camera on so I could actually see what is going on live, where they're at, or Matt, or whoever the new sergeant will be, or whoever can actually see what's going on live with them, so I know, because sometimes, you know, it may not be going well, and if they get on the radio, you know, then the person they have will heighten up with that, so they can just push a button, and I can see what's going on, and then I can get help rolling for them when I'm off, because we tested that, and it's really a good feature for especially a smaller department like that, and it definitely makes a noise, because I was at home sleeping when John tested it one night, and it woke me up, so. And he was just sitting at his desk, and he goes, "Oh, is that what that does?" So, so he only tested it once during the night. And then the second thing is we have Flock as our for the LPR system. Well, Axon wants to get into it, and they're not in Will County, and so they asked if we would take a free one and then give us what they thought about it, and I said, sure. If I have to, I will take something free, and then I have to give them, you know, a report on it. That's on my end and the back end on what, you know, how I feel about it and stuff like that. So that's so that button thing was $26,000 that they're going to give to us. So
You know, we said we didn't really need that, it's a nice feature, but we just felt like we could get do without it, and then when they came back, so we'll give it to you anyway, so that was a positive. So back to just quickly on the pricing.
Thank you, Chief.
It's projected out over 10 years, so if you add up all the costs over 10 years, it is $344,921.22. The first year payment would, should we agree to this, is to use the grant money we just talked about for, that would be your first year payment, and then the rest of the years would be at $31,565.36, give or take a penny. There's an issue in rounding, but that would be our cost to maintain all of our camera systems, and like I said, swapping them out on a regular basis and these other features. And in section 17.2 was the big point in the contract of it allows us an exit. Should there be some reason we don't like the system, it's catastrophically not working, etc. There's other provisions for that too, but if we wanted to get out, we could get out. But this, I think, is overall very, very positive, and it just took a lot of back and forth, and we weren't sure we were going to make this meeting, but I think it's commended, and it's to this village and the chief for getting these going, but now we're going to have them in. It's good for us from an insurance standpoint too. If somebody does something, we've got it on camera, and from a training perspective, it's always good for the chief and his leadership to review these situations and say, okay, we did this. So I'm going to stop there. Any questions? Otherwise, I would recommend approval on this. So, thank you.
Questions? We got a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
We're going to take questions from the press. Questions? Any correspondence, communications, or petitions from anybody? Okay. We're going to close the regular session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to be determined its validity. This 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Need a motion to close the session.
Second.
Who's first?
Gary.
Gary, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.